thing about where you lived?
Well, what was not to like to live in Upper Runcorn? Yes, very basic house, 6 room prefab basically, back kitchen. But the outside the door, I'd walk maybe 200 metres, and I could be in the fields. I could go over Runcorn Hills. Runcorn Hills expands right round to the big sandstone outcrop called Frog's Mouth. Used to go round through there. Also, round the corner from us, Park Lake, we do the fishing for the. I think we thought we were major anglers, but they were sticklebacks with the split cane and stuff like that. And then just very, very non-urban area. So just go out on your bike, go out in the woods, go out chucking stones, all kinds of wonderful things that boys do.
Favorite thing about growing up in Forest Glade has got to be just the outdoors, just like running around on our bikes until the streetlights came on, or the little, shortcuts between the houses, or, climbing trees, that kind of thing. I feel like I spoke to someone the other day who said that teenagers now don't know how to climb trees. Now, I don't know how accurate that is, but that just seems like a total strange world now. So yeah, that was my favorite part about Forest Glade. It's just the neighborhood, cruising around the neighborhood.
Favorite place, or what was it? Favorite place, or where you grew up? I don't know. Probably the best thing about it. I don't know, just being out, playing on the street, treehouse, getting on the roof, doing the shingles. Yeah, I don't know. I think, just like going around the block and like street hockey and doing all that. And then, I don't know, I think as well, I quite liked when Frankie would pick me up from the community center. I remember he had that bike. He had like a cream, like racing bike he got from like police auctions downtown or something. I remember when he bought it, he got it for like mad cheap. And then also he picked me up from the community center, and it would be like down through that little trail around to the park, and I'd just be sitting on the front, and he'd be going so fast, and I remember freaking out, but also it was like the best thing ever. Yeah, it was good times.
Best thing about where we grew up, we were close to a bunch of our friends. I really liked the little tree house in the Ashland house. The laundry chute was pretty great. Probably should not have been playing with that as much as we did. I don't know. It was a good place to grow up.
What was your favorite house that you ever lived in? And where was it? And why was it your favorite?
I really enjoyed Ashland, 9492 Ashland. One of the favourite things was the above ground pool and the deck whereby you used to sneak out and eat raspberries, wild raspberries growing on the back fence.
My favorite house was probably the house in Kirby, just because I got my own room, that big blue room, which probably thinking about it now, it's probably not even that big, but at the time it was major. And then also once we'd done the slate tiles in the kitchen and the bathroom, it felt so fancy. So that was my favorite house.
Happy birthday, Frankie. All right, here we go. Questions. I think the first one was favorite house to live in. I would say for me, it would have to be 802 Richmond. That was pretty good. It's pretty nice. Just good memories. But I reckon Frankie might say Vale Road, New Zealand, the old fireplace outside action.
Hi. My favorite place to live was probably Kirby. I had my own room. I got to put all my photos and magazine clippings and all that stuff up on the wall. So that was pretty great.
Mine is less a quip or a joke and more just a vibe. I think that my favorite Frankie Finlow trait will have to be the CFB, the classic Finlow bullshit. Just the way that you can turn anything into a fact. It could be true, it could be partially true, it could be used to be true, but you know, the way that you just are able to make me believe things that, you know, don't really matter in the scheme of things. Judder bars, for instance. I still don't know if that's why they're called judder bars, but you know, it makes sense. Makes sense to me. So am I gonna go and tell other people that's why? Yeah, I am. And I can thank you for that.
If I said to you, what were you wearing? What would you say?
Wearing now, or what?
No, what were you wearing? If I ever said that to you, have you ever replied to that question?
Donkey jacket and jeans.
Frankie saying, sorry, it's gotta be quit jacking with the Corinthian. Jutta bars, calling them Jutta bars. A up soft lad. What was he wearing? Doggy jacket and jeans. Yeah, there's a few good ones.
Actually, it's a very good question, but rather than what was I wearing, it should be what gear was I in.
I don't know what my favorite dad joke is. There's probably too many. Best quip is probably on your bike, because I feel like I heard that a lot growing up. It's a pretty good one.
What was your favourite food or snack?
Pretty much, I was one of these not fussy eaters. I would eat anything that was put in front of me, but a couple of things come to mind. One was I think they call it Welsh rarebit, at least it was my mum's version of it. It was like an enamel plate, a bit of a deep enamel plate, and she'd put chunks of cheese in there and bread and milk, and then put it under the grill. So almost it went burnt, so it formed a skin around the outside. It was magic. That was one thing. And then the other was sometimes on a Saturday we would go to football, soccer, and we'd have a tin of tomato soup with a meat pie floater in the middle.
I don't know about favorite snack. Probably depended on like whether it was Halloween time and we got Halloween candy or whatever. But favorite food was for sure Frankie's chicken nuggets. Until I got a little bit older, and then it was probably those little curry puff things. That's pretty great.
Fave food for me, I say it's gotta be cheese on toast. I'd say Frankie be into the cheese on toast as well. That's thick, slightly burnt, heaps of butter, thick cheese. And then I'd say he'd probably say something like beans on toast and spam and eggs or something silly like that. And then yeah, the staple, Emma, yeah, she's 100% right. It's the chicken nuggets, the homemade joint.
If we're talking favorite foods, the Finlow classic of Frankie's chicken nuggets, it's got to be that. Super simple, I think. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been able to really truly replicate them. But having said that, I will, now that I've got it in my head, I'm probably going to go and make them today. So we'll see.
Fave bedtime story. I don't really remember any of that, but I do remember that book of like, it was like green and brown and white, and it was like a moose and a bear or something, horse and something, or I don't know, and Frankie would do voices, but I don't really remember it. But that's got to be the one, right? Yeah.
Time story.
Myself, no, there wasn't the thing back in the day where my mum or dad read me a bedtime story, nor would I want them to anyway. I'm going to bed, that's it, that's all. But when the kids were growing up, I used to be not hounded, but Dad, can you read the story? And I knew they didn't have to say what book, they just said the story. And so that was Adventures of Horace and Boris. and I quite enjoyed reading that because we mix around with accents and all kinds of drama. So I thought that was quite good.
Favorite bedtime story is gotta be the Morris and Boris, just because of the voices. Like, I can still hear them now, but I have no idea what the books were about. I feel like I've merged like two things, and it was some kind of like spy caper or something like that. But yeah, the voices for the characters, that was always my favorite.
Favorite bedtime story, definitely Morris and Boris. Probably the Christmas one. I feel like that one I remember the most, and I still have that copy of that book. So ridiculous, very funny.
What was the moment, or what was a moment when you said, "Oh, this is brilliant. This you can't beat it."
I have those moments frequently. I think there's a theme that runs through. If you look at this played as a reel, sunrises are the big get up and go issue for me in the morning, and some brilliant sunsets also. So I think recently the Kintamani experience, when we rode up a year or so ago on the motorbikes with Don and Liz, that whole experience of seeing the sun come up over the top of Haggle from the deck on, one of the places in Kintamani was amazing. Brilliant.
Would you do anything differently?
That's a very good question. With hindsight, you always say, no, you would, there is probably something I would have done, but nothing springs to mind immediately. Because I think part of the experience I've had is the fact of just doing it, just going ahead and weighing up the alternatives, but not getting too stressed about it and just diving in. So likely not.